I remember the panic I felt when I first heard about the food shortages. It was as if the world was crumbling beneath my feet. The rising prices, the empty shelves at the store. It was all so overwhelming. But I knew I had to do something. I had to take action to protect myself and my family. That's when I discovered the world of prepping. I began to stockpile food, building up my prepper pantry little by little. It wasn't easy, but I knew it was necessary. I didn't want to be caught off guard in case of an emergency. And as time went on, I realized that there were so many reasons to have a stockpile of food. It wasn't just about a global catastrophe. It could be something as simple as a weather event or a sudden illness. So I started implementing some simple tips to help me build my stockpile. Whenever I went to the store, I would buy 2 of the things on my list instead of just 1. That way, I had 1 to use and 1 to put away. And if I saw something new that I wanted to try, I would just buy one and take it home. That way, I wasn't wasting money on things I didn't like. Over time, my stockpile grew, and it gave me such a sense of peace and security. I knew that no matter what the future held, I had enough food to feed my family. And I knew that I had taken control of the situation rather than letting it control me. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by the food shortages, don't panic. Just take it one step at a time. Start building your stockpile little by little. And remember, it's not about being a doomsday prepper. It's about being prepared for whatever life throws your way. According to some experts, it's recommended to have at least 2 cans of food per person per day, in addition to your beans and rice, if you want to have enough emergency food on hand. Personally, I believe that having extra cans of food in my food storage stockpile and prepper pantry means having extra meals for the future. Spring is the perfect time to grow your own food. Look for seeds that will grow in your local area and varieties of fruits and vegetables that your family enjoys. Even if you're still dealing with snow like I am, don't worry. Spring is coming. As the snow melts, prepare yourself to start your garden as soon as possible. If you don't have a yard, you can still plant some flower pots on your windowsill, balcony, or patio. Having some seeds on hand, even just for sprouting in a jar, can help you provide some of the food you rely on. Dehydrating food is another option for long-term food storage stockpiles. If you have access to frozen vegetables, you can easily dehydrate them using a dehydrator, as they are already blanched. By dehydrating your own food, you can ensure that you have access to a variety of foods throughout the year, even if they are not in season. Maybe you don't just want to rely on your freezer to store food for the long term. Dehydrating your foods is a great way to ensure that you're rotating through your stockpile and not letting items go to waste. If you find that you're not eating frozen foods quickly enough before they expire, consider dehydrating them instead. Simply spread the blanched items onto the shelves of your dehydrator, turn it on, and let it run until the food is dry. The resulting dehydrated food will take up less space and can be added to your prepper pantry for long-term storage. Dehydrating is also a great way to make use of canned foods that are nearing their expiration date. By dehydrating them, you can free up space in your pantry for new canned goods while also extending the shelf life of the items you already have. If you have access to a bountiful garden or local farmer's market, consider dehydrating some of your produce as well. Investing in a dehydrator doesn't have to break the bank. For just over $100, you can purchase the Magic Mill Dehydrator, which is incredibly easy to use. Simply plug it in, turn it on, and let it do the work for you. Once your food is dehydrated, store it carefully in clean and dry containers, such as jars or plastic bottles. These containers can be reused to store more dried foods in the future after washing and airing them out. Overall, dehydrating your food is a smart and efficient way to build up your prepper pantry while also reducing food waste. Dried foods like rice, beans, oatmeal, and pasta can last a long time and be stored in small containers. Rather than buying large amounts and storing them in 5-gallon buckets, consider putting some of your purchases into smaller jars or containers. This makes it easier to access smaller amounts of food and rotate through them for regular meals. In emergency situations, these smaller containers could even be used for bartering. However, it's important to ensure that the lids of these containers are completely clean before storing food in them. The aroma from any previous food can be difficult to remove and affect the taste of your current storage. One method to remove odors is to place the containers out in the sun for a few days, but this may not be practical in all seasons. Alternatively, try rubbing the lids with baking soda, putting them through the dishwasher multiple times. or simply allowing them time to dissipate. To test if the scent has been completely removed, close the lid for a brief period, and then check if it smells like air. Remember that the odor isn't confined to the glass, but can also permeate the lid. One of the reasons why I prefer to purchase spaghetti sauce that comes in a mason jar is that even if you decide not to reuse the lid, you can easily replace it with a clean canning jar lid. This way, you have a convenient and simple way of storing food. The same technique can be used for pot bottles and juice containers as well. However, it is important to avoid using milk cartons for this purpose. This is because it is almost impossible to remove the milk solids and aromas from the container, and they are not very durable. Milk cartons are not designed to last, and after just a few months, they are likely to start leaking, which can be a disaster. Not only will you lose the water you were storing, but it can also leak and ruin other items in your stockpile. To avoid such scenarios, it is important to store heavy items and liquids on the bottom shelf of your pantry, and avoid placing them above dry goods or canned products, which can lead to leaks and cause extensive damage. When considering emergency preparedness, it is also crucial to prioritize and plan storage based on the possible scenarios that may arise. Finally, it is advisable to store extra water, but be wary of buying water in bottles that come in multi-packs. Regardless of the brand or size, the containers are not meant to last for extended periods of time, and the plastic can disintegrate, rendering the water undrinkable. When you notice signs of deterioration in plastic containers, it's time to replace them. While they can still serve for non-drinking purposes such as washing or watering the garden, it's not advisable to consume water from a plastic bottle that has disintegrated, as it could contaminate the drinking water. Instead, opt for sturdy water containers designed for drinking, even if they are as small as a 1-liter bottle. Water storage containers come in various sizes and price points, so it's wise to have a variety of them on hand. However, bear in mind that a gallon of water weighs over 8 pounds, so larger containers can be exceedingly heavy and hard to move. Before filling up a 55-gallon barrel or a similar container, make sure it's placed where you want it and leveled, so you won't have to move it after filling it. These are my 5 quick tips for dealing with food shortages. Share in the comments below what supplies you're finding to be becoming too expensive or in short supply, as that can lead to shortages we can't afford. Remember, the cost of food may increase significantly in the future, so it's important to prepare accordingly. I want to ensure that I am procuring the essential items that I require while they are still available in stores and affordable. It is prudent to allocate a portion of your budget to stockpiling food, even if you purchase just one additional item during each visit to the store. Gradually, your inventory will amass, providing you with an ample supply of sustenance to sustain you through various emergency scenarios. If you found my video helpful, kindly share it with anyone else you believe might benefit from it.